Take two. All right, guys. Little do you know, my video cut out on me, so we're gonna give this another go. See if the gods allow it this time. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna see if I can scoot back just even more. And so we're gonna start standing. So mountain pose in yoga is actually a really important pose. We are not slouchy butts, you know, hanging. Not really anyway, I mean a little bit, but we are integrated and aware, and we have this energetic sense of steel poles or beams shooting through the bottoms of our feet into the earth, keeping us from tipping over. So it's really turned on actually. We have this pulling of, like if we had a thread going through the top of our head and we lift it up and you get that lift in your vertebrae, we really have that in your spine. Sometimes when we think of strong and stable, well, most of the time, we jump to rigidity. And the reality is being rigid is actually incredibly fragile. You break, you snap. There's a point at which it can take no more. So anytime we have strength, we also have some ability to give. So if we were a skyscraper in Los Angeles, where they get earthquakes, they look like they're not moving, right? Super strong, not toppling over, but actually they have the ability to give a little bit, to sway a little bit when necessary, right? That's where we're at. So we have a lifting in our spine, dropping of our shoulders, rooting of our feet and our legs. My toes, I can wiggle them if I wanted to. We notice our breathing. Eyes are closed, if possible. When you close your eyes in any sort of balance, it can really throw you off, so don't be alarmed if that's what happens. Just open your eyes, take a lower gaze. Chest is lifted. Everything is in alignment. So sometimes we have some funny things that we do where we think if we're sucking in our tummy, we're popping our chest out, and then we get this like duck thing, right? It's not like that. We pull our rib in, so it's stacked right on top of our hip bones. Abs are engaged. Tail is not tucked, but it's not flaring out either, right? We have a nice neutral pelvic tilt, or not tilt, pelvic positioning. So let's take a big inhale together, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive down. We take a bend in our knees so that our tummies can rest on our quads, and we can rest relaxedly. Is that a word? I don't know. Grab opposite elbows. Let your head be heavy. Deep breaths. We're going to take an inhale as we put our hands on our chins, lifting our back. So we have this 90-degree angle, hinging at the hips. Exhale, back down. Another inhale, arms come up overhead, all the way standing. Exhale, arms to sides. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan back down.
Pause for a moment, be heavy, find rest in your forward fold. If you're folding and your legs are shaking because they're so tight, that means you don't have a proper bend. You're too far into that quite yet. We're not there yet. We're gonna plant our hands on our shins. Inhale as we straighten our back, straighten our legs.
Turning on our back muscles. Our back is really holding us up. Exhale, fold back down. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, arms to our sides. Good. We're going to do just one more, but not all the way through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. This time we're going to plant our hands on the mat. And let's see, I'm going to face you for a second. We're going to drop let's actually heel toe out pretty wide. You might even have to widen up a little more afterwards. My toes might be a little further out than my heels. We're going to drop our butt pretty deep. This is not a proper weightlifting squat. It's more like goddess squat, or even like a wide-legged malasana. Elbows tuck into our knees, palms come together in prayer. We lift our chest, and we can get this sensation that our knees are driving out to the side, right? But we're using right now our elbows to do that work for us, which is great. That's what we're doing right now. Taking some deep breaths. Chest is forward, back is engaged, shoulders are down. Lifting through the spine. Plant your hands, lift your butt, shake out your hips. We're going to do that again, but a little different this time. So we're going to drop our butt and go ahead and get yourself into that same position. Again, if your heels are not on the mat, widen your feet a little further until they can find the mat. And this time, we're going to play with taking our elbows off and seeing if we can keep our knees exactly where they're at. So first we have our elbows in, we know where they're supposed to be, chest is high, and then we're gonna clench up our butt, our outer hips, so that we can let go of our arms, woo, and our knees try to stay exactly where they are. Mine are just shaking and like talking. Good, bring your knees back in, plant your hands, lift your butt, shake it out. I'll join you back at the top of the mat. So with our hands planted, butts up, we're forward fold, we're gonna walk back into downward dog. Pedaling one heel at a time, finding some mobility in our Achilles, our calf, back of our knees. Pushing through the index finger and the thumb. Letting your head be heavy. All the things. And we're gonna rotate our toes to the left, heels to the right. Our feet are in line with each other. We're gonna bend our knees. And when we bend our knees, this left arm's gonna kind of lift, and we're gonna drape it over our head like a pretty drippy rainbow. Really find an opening in that left side body, and when we breathe, you can breathe through those left ribs and get that extra stretch. Plant your hands, pedal out. We'll rotate our toes to the right, heels to the left, bending your knees, lifting that right arm, opening up your chest to the right. So in our right arm will just drape over our head. Really enjoying that stretch. Plant your hands. We're going to take a bend in the knees, so we're in this pounce position. And then as we straighten them out, we're going to straighten and roll through like a wave of water up to plank. We're going to anchor down with our right hand pivot onto the nice edge of our right foot, open up to plank, just for a quick second. But come back down, drop our knees, lower down, nice and slow, elbows tucked along our sides, all the way down to the mat. I'm gonna have to scoot down a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna do a little scorpion pose. So we're gonna open up our arms, teed out, right along our sides, right? And then we're gonna take our left foot. I'm tucked up against this wall right now. We're gonna see how this works for me. And we're gonna lift this left foot, lift, 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 bringing it towards your right shoulder or hand. See if you can keep gripping your hand on the mat. Here's what I want. Our left arm is gonna lift a little bit, but we don't want it to lift all the way quite yet. Right now, we're getting an opening in our hip as opposed to the shoulder stretch that we often do. So keep this hand gripping so that your left shoulder doesn't pop all the way up. It's tricky. Come back down to the other side. So arms are flat, really gripping your hands down, putting your, like we got little froggy fingers, right? Big old fingertips gripping down on the mat. We're gonna lift this right leg, lift, lift, lift. Try to bring it to your left hand or your left shoulder. Tip it down. Keep finding some traction with your right hand so that you get more of an opening in your hip, your whole interior side. Good, come back down. Let's go arms out in front. Before we lift off into our Superman, we really want to pay attention to our lower body. So our pelvis drives down into the mat really intensely, like just driving it down. And if you were to reach back, you should feel your butt engaged when you do that. Really pushing your hips down into the mat. And when you do that, there's also a lifting of your quads and your knees. They come up off the mat. Tops of your feet stay on the mat. Keeping all that exactly where it's at. Arms are gonna come out in front. We're gonna lift up our arms, our chest, our head. Hovering, Superman, keeping those hips driving into the mat. Bring your arms to a W, lift a little higher. Swing your hands back so that it's a cape. Keep lifting. Rotate your palms, palms facing up. Bring your index finger and thumbs together. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Oh my goodness. Back to a cape, W, straight out in front, and rest. Take a deep breath. Good. Now let's bring our arms out into a cactus. Cactus arms, field goal arms, right? And we're gonna roll over our right side. So the foot is not gonna go very far. I mean, it's a pretty small movement. You might barely move and you're like, that's it, that's where I'm at. Great. It's just a big stretch in your chest, your anterior delt. Really open it up. Nice. Come back down. Field goal arms. Roll over onto the left side. Ooh, that side is a little tighter for me. Oh my goodness. No, I got my barely off on my rollover. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy. Man. So anytime you're feeling tension in life, in jiu-jitsu and yoga,
You take that as your cue and your opportunity to breathe through it. To close your eyes, take a big inhale, and on that exhale, just feel a loosening and a relaxation in that tension. Make it a habit. It'll serve you in most aspects of your life. You know, when you're, come back to center, when you're pinned underneath, under somebody's side control and they're smothering you, or they've got mother's milk on you, don't panic. Find an opportunity to breathe. All right, we're gonna do our Supermans again, driving our hips into the mat really, really intensely. Like, it's an awkward, for yoga, most things are pretty gentle. This is not. You are really pushing your hips and your pelvis down into the mat, lifting your quads and your knees, tops of the feet stay on the mat. We'll bring your arms out, lift your chest, using your back muscles. Shoulders are away from the ears still. Lift, W, lift some more, kick back, flip the palms, bring your index finger and thumbs together. Maybe they don't make it, that's okay. Back out to a cape, W, Superman, and drop. Shake it out, wiggle it out. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. You can lift your knees if you want. I'm gonna keep my knees on the mat. I'm gonna keep my elbows tight along my rib cage. Push up, curl my toes under, downward dog. And I gotta scoot up just a smidge here. Came off my mat. Good. I'm gonna pedal. See how your downward dog is feeling second go round. Maybe there's a little more mobility in it. We're gonna take that pouncy position, right? Really shifting our hips back, bending the knees, pushing off through our palms, and then we're gonna push off with our legs and wave like a pretty water wave all the way forward into plank. We're gonna rotate onto our left palm, left foot, knife's edge, open up to the side, really lifting through our hips like there's a fire underneath us and we don't want it to touch us. Good, just for a quick second. Bring that palm back down, shift back, downward dog. We're gonna tiptoe up, tip, 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 all the way up to the top of the mat. Maybe come up onto your index fingers. Good. Heel toe a little bit wide. Grab opposite elbows. Hang heavy. Whew, deep breath. Still keeping a bend in your knees. You might keep a bend in your knees the entire practice. I probably will, just depending on how tight you are. If you're too tight and you try to work on your flexibility, basically your body will like seize up. So you've got to give it a little something to relax into. Yeah, titrate in those stretches. Nice. All right, so this time we're gonna play with our half forward fold. So normally we come hands to shins, right? And we come to this 90-degree angle. We'll come right here, and then we're gonna take our hands up to our shoulders. See how this feels. Maybe this is our next stop. Maybe our hands are here at our head. See how this feels. Shoulders stay away from the ears, meaning you have space here. Or extend your arms out, straight in front of you like a big L. Really using your backside, forward fold. Again, we're having a wide stance here, so I'm a bit wider than hips for me. Sometimes with the ladies, when we say hip width, we get all like, here's my hip width. No. Hips are what? Here,
roughly. I'm a bit wider than hips. Okay? So, but basically it's your squat width. And that might be different for you depending on the amount of flexibility you have in your Achilles. So, tune into what you need. We're in a forward fold. We're gonna drop our butts, not all the way like we did before. We're coming to, let's call it about a 90-degree angle. Straight back, yeah? Let's take hands overhead. And then we're gonna shoot up. Nice. Back down, arms overhead, or to our heads. They could be overhead, but I'm gonna go to the head instead. Drop our hands down, straighten out our legs, shake it out. So when we're doing these squats, we really want to keep that. When we were doing the goddess squat and we had our hands in prayer and then we let it go and we kept that drive out with our knees. We want to keep that here. So we're going to drop our butt, keep our knees going outward. Yeah. Hands come up, straight back. Really should feel your glutes. You should feel this like turn it on right there, right? Shooting up. Shake it out. Drop it back down. Straight back, knees out, glutes on. Bring your hands down, straighten your legs. Shake it out. Deep breaths. Let's take an inhale, and as we inhale, we're going to come up into that modified active forward fold. So you can come to shins first. We can come to shoulders, head, L. Big inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Step our feet back, downward dog. Relaxing for just a second. All right, bending the knees, pounce position, shifting forward into plank. Yeah. Rotating onto the right palm, opening up. Woo. Side plank. Really engaging the side, lifting through it. Come back down. Back to downward dog. We're going to take our right leg back behind us. Yours is going to be straight. Mine is wonky because I have a wall right here. And then we're going to take this right leg and we're going to take the right foot, bend it, drop it, so we have dirty dog going, right? Foot to the butt, knee is lifted. And then we're going to do some circles. So first we're going to take the knee a little bit forward to like our belly button, lift it up and out and back. Do that again. Knee comes to the belly button, lifts it out and back. Big circles. One more. Forward and back. Pause at the top. And then we're going to reverse that. But this time we're just going to reverse it. We're going to lift that knee up, 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 up. Keep lifting, bring it all the way forward outside of the right foot. So we're in like lizard's pose, basically, right? Back is straight. Right now we have our knee lifted. Foot is on the outside of the hands. Let's find some movement in our lizard and come to the appropriate depth for you. So it's okay if your knee wants to splay out just a bit, but do try to keep your foot firmly on the ground. You might be able to come down to your forearms, but if you're staying here, that's fine. What I want us to do is take some circles in it. So we're gonna rotate some little circles, finding movement in it. I like to do this a lot. Rather than staying stagnant in stretches, keep them moving, keep the body awake. We'll reverse our rotation, go the other direction. Let's take our left foot, drop the heel down so that it's perpendicular to the front. And we're gonna keep our hand, if we can, on the ground. Maybe it's gonna lift up. We're gonna take our right hand, or excuse me, our left hand and reach it up and over, side angle lunge. You should have this straight line from your fingertips to your back foot. Then we're gonna take our left arm, bring it down to the mat, and this hand, both of our hands are gonna trace the mat to our back foot, letting our left foot bend, and we can rotate onto the heel of our right foot, right? So right now I'm kind of resting here. That's fine if that's where you're at. I am going to hover, and I'm gonna make it very active. So this is my Siddhasana, right? Keep rotating back of the mat so that you are in a lunge at the back of the mat. And we're gonna kick off. I'm gonna just scooch back just a smidge. We're gonna kick off with this right leg. So we're balancing on our left, standing splits. And the standing splits is not opening to the side. It's a pretty small lift. It's not very splitty. But you're using that glute to really lift that right leg. You got this. Keep lifting, keep lifting. You can make it a balance if you want, but that is not my goal right now, right? Take this right leg, hinge it down, drop it next to the left, forward fold. Take some deep breaths. Sway it out. Again, so we're gonna do that modified active half forward fold. So we can come to our shins first, straight back, bring our hands to our shoulders, to our head. If you have the space, you can go straight out. I don't, so I'm gonna stay right here. Really turn on that back. Good, forward fold all the way down. We'll tiptoe back, sit down for dog. We're facing the back of the mat. Sorry if that is bad for your viewing pleasure. In fact, just rotate around. Just flip it over if you can't see me right now. So we're gonna take this left leg now, back behind us. And then we're gonna drop the heel to the butt. All right, dirty dog. And first we're gonna do some rotations where we take the knee. First we bring it to the belly button, keeping that leg bent. And then we're gonna take the knee out and up. Back down, knee to belly, out, back. Keeping that right leg super stable. It requires a lot of work. And one more, pause at the top. And then we're gonna reverse it. We're gonna take that knee and lift, lift, lift. Keep lifting it all the way forward, dropping it onto the outside of your hands. Into whatever lizard pose feels right for you. Mine is a high lizard. I am not down, but if you wanna come down to your forearms, that feels good for you, you get at it. And if your knee kind of splays out a smidge, that's okay. Just keep your foot anchored. And then we're gonna take some rotations here. So I don't know if you've ever seen a lizard do this on a rock, but they do it. They kind of, well, they don't do circles, but they just kind of shift back and forth. That's what we're doing. We'll reverse our rotations. We're gonna keep our left hand planted next to our left foot, drop our right heel down, and then we're gonna open up to the right, to side angle. Shifting our torso, rotating it so that it's up towards the ceiling. The left hip pulls and tucks under, the right pulls back. Left knee pulls kind of behind you. We're gonna take our right arm, windmill it down, and then both hands are gonna trace the mat to the back foot so that the right foot can bend, right leg can bend. We're on our left heel, we're in Skandasana. If your Skandasana is here, that is okay. Just find what's appropriate for you. We're gonna rotate all the way to the back of the mat. Kick off with your left foot. Nope, we're back to the front of the mat, aren't we? Front of the mat. Kick off with your left foot, standing splits. Your splits are not super high, meaning you want to keep both of your hip bones as if there was headlights on each of them. They would be facing the mat equally. They would not be pointing off the side of the road, right? So it's a smaller lift, but you're using your glute to hold it up. Hinge that leg down. Drop it next to your right foot. Find a nice, relaxed forward fold. Good. So let's tiptoe back. Dog. I think we might have forgotten our left side plank. So let's do one more left side plank. We're gonna shift forward into plank, rotate onto our left, whoop, home, lifting through our side body, bringing our arm up. Good. Bring it back down. Push back to downward dog, and then we're gonna go to this pouncing position, right? So I want us to play with the pounce a little bit. Sometimes the pounce, I think most often, you'll see people will do it when they're jumping back and forth from down dog and forward fold. So it might be this to this, right? But you also can do it with, here, if you want to come down to your knees, that's fine. You can also do it with handstands. It is Texas. It is hot. I'm sweating my buns off. So no judge, no judging. So I want us to play with the handstand variety. Meaning you're trying to get a little bit more lift. You're trying to get your feet to shift up and over your hands. And maybe you start really small, right? Maybe you go pounce and you're just like, pop, and pop, and that's fine. Like you just stay right there. But as you start feeling a little more comfortable with that and you get your courage, see if you can go a little higher, right? And a little higher. And I just want everybody to play with that for just a second. If you have a wall available, you can give yourself that, but I don't think it's necessary where we're at right now. So we're just gonna keep hopping. Bending down, pushing off, see if you can get some air time. Land gently as possible. Down, up. Nice. Now once you've done that a few times, come to your downward dog. Tippy toe up to the top of the mat. Hands and feet together. Widen your stance again. Drop your butt. We're back in this squat. So first, I have my heels up. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine for a wrap. We're just going to do a little ankle. So we're going to take one knee and bring it down. And then bring it down. Down. So we're going to come, knees touch, bring it back into your lunge or your squat. Knees touch and squat. Plant your hands, lift your butt, shake it out. It's forward fold.
We're gonna do another one of those little modified half forward folds. So you can come to your hands to the shins first, lifting up. Bring your hands to your shoulders, your head, or straight out. Turning it all on. And forward fold. Now bringing your feet together, take one foot and go onto tippy toes. Keep your forward fold, then bring your hand forward fold as in, half forward fold, straight back, straight back. Hands to the hips, and then lift up, hinge back down, hands to the mat, drop your heel, bring the other foot up, straight back, hinging up. Should feeling, when you come up, you're really getting a little clench in your butt, keeping your back straight. We're just gonna do a few more. I'm gonna just keep my hands on my hips. So bring either right heel up, lifting, clenching at the top, back down, drop that heel, lift, and up, and down. Okay, this is not yoga. This is actually, I'll give a shout out to Danny and his friends from many, many years ago. Used to do these on the sandy beaches of Coronado, I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly. They called them duck walks. So we're gonna be wide-legged. We're gonna drop our butt. Hands, we're gonna be over our head, and you're gonna walk to me. So we're gonna keep your butt low, walk, you feel like a duck, you feel ridiculous, perfect. And forward, and back, and back, and back, and back. Keep going. Forward fold, check it out. If I'm doing it wrong, if anybody has a modification for the sandy beach variety, you let me know. Again, super wide legs. Drop your butt, bring your chest up. Knees are going out the whole time, right? Hands overhead, walk, walk. And backwards. Whose legs are on fire? Mine. Oh, shake it out, forward fold. Buns of steel in the garage today. Let's come down to our butts. Relax for just a second. Whew. Let's see. I brought this block. I'm going to see if we can figure something out with it. You may not have a block. Maybe that's not a good idea. We'll skip the block because I did not advise on the front end. So we'll skip that. We're going to continue with a little, so believe it or not, tight hip flexors are often not strong. So you want to elongate your hip flexors, but you also want to strengthen them. So we're going to do some good old hip flexor swimming kicks. You want to be supported. That's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to be on my forearms, hands underneath my butt. You can be all the way on your back if you want. Just make sure that you are keeping your back, your tail tucked, same as we keep talking about, so that your back is touching the mat. I find it easier to kind of force that by coming upright, and it creates a little bit of a curvature in your lumbar spine. Okay, so legs are gonna come out, and we're just gonna kick kicks. Suck your tummy down, pulling your navel down towards the mat.
relax. Flip over onto your stomach. Take your right leg, bring it out to the side, and just rest for a second. So you have your right leg bent out to the side, left is straight. Bring it back down. Left leg comes out. You know, this is like, some people sleep like this, but bring it up pretty high. All right, bring it back down, roll back onto your back. One more round of swim kicks. So we're gonna pull our tummy down towards the mat, lifting our legs, and then one leg at a time. Make sure you're breathing. Good, rest. Roll over onto your, actually let's just come upright. We're gonna take, legs are bent, left leg is gonna roll behind, right foot is coming into your groin. We're in Z or 90-90 or half warrior, whatever the name is. And we're gonna come back, whatever is available to you. So if your left knee is popping up or your hip is popping up, both your knees and both your hips should be on the mat. If they're lifting, that means you've gone too far and your body's trying to create some, it's trying to kind of give to the stretch. Can you hear that? It's a little back pop. Good. Now we're gonna just lift your knees up, switch the direction so your knees will be pointing to the left, feet to the right. Right foot is at your butt, left foot is at your groin. You might feel a little different on this side. It feels much tighter for me on this side. Making sure your knees and your hips are both coming down towards the mat. All right, so I'm gonna move forward into one last thing. Everything's optional, but this is a little, it's harder. If you're not feeling up to it or you gotta go, scoot on out. We're gonna do handstand prep and then handstand with donkey kick. So they're both gonna be at a wall is the other thing. So if you don't have a wall that's like kind of free and available to you, then don't worry about it. Come to a class, we'll work on it sometime there. But I'll run through it for whoever wants to stay put and keep working on it. You could also just split it out, give yourself a couple minutes of Shavasana. Meet yourself where you're at. Cool, knees are gonna come up. All right, whoever wants to join, well, whoever's not, thank you so much. And whoever wants to join in the last little bit here, we're gonna do some handstand stuff. So handstand prep is actually harder than handstand. It's gonna be a lot of back work. And it's gonna feel like, oh my gosh, if I can't do the prep, there's no way I can do the handstand. Not true. It's very different. The prep is much more muscular and like requires more engagement. So I start first with my feet to the wall, just for a quick second to get my distance. So for me, my distance that I'm gonna be planting my hands is where my butt's at, and so happens to be also where this crease in the mat is. So I can keep that in mind. So I'm gonna then flip over. I'm gonna plant my hands at that distance, the crease in the mat. And then I'm gonna walk my feet up the wall. And it's not gonna be, hey, roly-poly, what are you doing, buddy? So you're not going all the way up. We're not here. We're actually at a really awkward angle, which is our half forward fold, the L shape, right? Requires a lot of back engagement. It's gonna feel like a lot of work. And this is where we're gonna hang out. And maybe my feet are even still too high. I can't tell because I'm upside down, but we're gonna hang out here for as long as we can. Maybe we walk in and out of it. Maybe come back up, push in. Maybe we walk up to here, come back down, straighten our legs. Whew. It's a lot of work. But if you can get into that and hold it for a second, it's a good indicator that you're ready to move into handstand. If it was too hard for you, I still encourage you to try handstand. I really don't think it's a big deal. But that really gets all the muscles working that we're about to use. And then for handstand proper, so sometimes you'll do like, well, what's the difference? The names, donkey kick, mule kick. So sometimes you do the one-legged, kind of flinging yourself up. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna do that pouncing pose that we talked about, or that we worked on. So our hands will be about a foot from the wall. You need enough space for your butt. Otherwise your butt's gonna hit and it's gonna knock you back. So give yourself enough space. I know you wanna be close because you're nervous and you wanna be close to the wall. I promise it's better if you have some space. So give yourself about a foot, come into a downward dog, and I'm gonna be in a real narrow downward dog. I'm gonna bend into that pouncing position, right? Bent knees, ready to launch, and then I'm gonna kick off and see if I can make it. Oh, didn't make it that time. Try it again. Oh, look, made it that time. Try it again. Up and up. Just keep on trying, and then once you want to land it, you can walk your feet up, hang out. You don't want a banana back, so tuck your tail like we keep talking about. Maybe you bring one leg off the wall, and then the other leg off the wall, and you hang out. So just play like that. On your own time, shake out your wrists. It's a lot of wrists. Yoga's a lot of wrists. Be nice to yourself. Know your limitations, but also challenge it, right? You don't want to stay in your comfort zone forever. No growth in the comfort zone. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that super butt intensive, butt heavy work. Trying to get them booties a little heavier yet. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. So thank you. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.